is there an energy in electronic devices that can cause harm to my body? Yes. I work in front of a computer most of the day and I use Bluetooth headphones. I try to take breaks as often as I can to rest my eyes, but it feels like it's starting to wear on my body, almost like being around radiation too much. It's because it is a radiation, and too much of it does affect your body negatively. I also have a lot of neck discomfort from sitting in bad posture. I worry this is disrupting my body's energy flow. Even with frequent breaks and exercises, I can't seem to fix it. It does affect the energy in our body, especially when we overdo it. Anytime we overdo anything, it's not good. But especially with computer work, the radiation is so strong and how close you are to it and blah, blah, blah. It does have a big effect. So what can we do? Well, the Buddhists are now advocating that if you work in front of a computer, you get up every 15 minutes and take a break. Now, I find that hard to do because once you get working on a computer, you don't want to get up, and that's part of getting caught in the whole thing. So really, for me, what I have found is the worst part is just working on a computer subconsciously. You're just, mindlessly doing whatever you're doing and just doing this habitual thing on it. So try to make it more conscious. Try to breathe while you're doing it. Try to breathe. Sometimes when I'm doing certain kinds of work, I'll do, and then I'll type. And then I'll take a in-breath, and then I'll type. So try to make this more consciously, which means you're more in control of it. And then you can start to sense earlier on, wow, I've been sitting here too long. This energy is having an effect on my body.
In our daily life, most of the time, we are breathing subconsciously. So as Daniel said, we stop some occasionally our work and start to breathe consciously and rhythmically and deeply. That nourishes your body. So we have a lot of breathing exercise and they're going to provide as a meditation. If you like, please try in between your work.
Good advice. After 6 years of daily meditation now, I never did more than 30 minutes. But now sometimes I reach an hour. Is that too much? Can that destroy my nervous system? Even if I feel I don't want to stop? Well, this last comment, can it destroy my nervous system, is because Daskalos had so many cases where people would come to him practicing some sort of yoga or some sort of breathing thing, some sort of foreign system, and they would overdo it and it would break down their nervous system. So he was very much against these super long meditations and everything. I can't say that an hour is wrong if it's having a positive effect on you, but I have known people who have gone and done long meditations because they're troubled in this world and they want to get away, so they go inward. But that really weakens them. They don't realize it, but they're making themselves very special conditions. They're weakening themselves because we have to really be in both worlds. We're a citizen of two worlds, the material world and the spiritual world. So I'm going to let Aki speak to the rest of it. She's the meditation pillar. So.
As far as I know, before we exercise, kind of advanced exercise, like a symbol of life exercises, we need to train ourselves to practice and master the kinetic ether, aesthetic ether, and imprinting ether, the function of the ether. We have to master the function of the ether. And we have to get used to and master the skill of observation and visualization. Otherwise, we can't construct the symbol of life on our etheric double of our material body. So we need a long process of the preparation to do the advanced exercise. So the practices like esoteric practices or simple breathing exercise or exercises of the ethers is so important, and also introspection. It's so important to master our body. And years after years of this kind of exercises, we're going to be ready to construct the symbol of life on an etheric counterpart of our material body. So, but before we visualize something, as Chris said, it's very important to be centered, which means, as Daniel said, we have three bodies. That we always have the constantly we have emotions and thoughts in our daily life. We have to get rid of all kinds of emotions and thoughts, and have to be centered. Have to have a complete relaxed condition before we visualize something. So in this sense, yes, Krista, it's good as far as you keep, your center, and as far as you feel good and peace, not like what we advise people is not to meditate like enthusiastically too much. Yes, too intense, losing the balance between the daily life or the spiritual things. We have to make a nice smooth bridge between our daily life and the psychoanalytical world.
Okay. Here's a great question from Leslie. How do we know when God is speaking to us? That's a great question. Because there's lots of voices in our people's heads. What are those voices? There are many. I don't think I even want to get into all of them. But I will say this. The way to tell is through observation. It's really through observation. For example, you go and you feel like God said something to you, like, oh, you should move to this place, or you should do this thing. God doesn't do that, but sometimes you'll hear a voice that suggests you do certain things. Sometimes the voice of the guardian angel will be very good, but he won't tell you to do it. He said, this might be a good idea, or what about this? He tries to get you thinking about it. So observation, how does that help us? Well, we observe what happens when we follow that voice. If it's a false voice, see, there's a false voice mimicking the true voice in our head all the time. And the only thing it's going to save us is to have enough experience and observing what the results are for us to know the difference. And one easy way to tell is it never tells you what to do. It never tells you bad things about other people. It doesn't make you feel bad. It never criticizes or condemns. Even when you've done something wrong, the true voice points it out to you. And it's the voice of God vis-a-vis the guardian angel. It points out your mistakes, but it doesn't make you feel bad. You go, oh, I see. I could have done that. It would have been a better result. So we have to observe what these things are telling us and the effects of those things. That's the best way to do it. And there's no shortcut. You just have to have experience. You have to do it enough till you get a sense of it. And you'll discover one thing that's really, really beautiful, but I love so much, is the voice of God coming through your guardian angel. It's like your mother's voice. I mean, if you were in a room and were blindfolded and 5 women spoke, wouldn't you know your mother's voice? Well, of course. And it's the same way once you get familiar, once you develop that relationship with the guardian angel, it's not going to be that complicated because you know your mother's voice. And actually, the guardian angel is kind of like a mother. It's guiding us and helping us along.
And the sense which we are receiving is like it penetrates all levels and it directly comes to our heart. And don't you have experience in instant, in instant, in a second, understand everything in a second? Don't you have experience like that? We can understand whole things in a second. No, it comes mostly like this, and everything is makes sense. Feels like everything is makes sense, and also feel so much love. And please try in your daily life, stop your emotion. Try to stop, practice to stop your emotion, stop your thinking, stop feeling, stop thinking. Once we start to do it, then observation will start automatically. So being freed from all emotion thought, we can observe what's going on in our daily life.